Hi guys, I hope you're all well and you're staying safe. Today what I want to do is show you how to make a face mask. Now this is going to be ideal when we eventually get to go out and go to supermarkets and maybe do it at shops or go and meet friends and what have you. So I thought this would be a great way to teach you a few sewing skills whilst making something that's pretty useful. So first of all, you have to decide who you're making it for. Are you making it for a child? Are you making it for an adult? Because obviously these are going to they're going to need a different sized face mask. So the help sheet that I've created will give you the dimensions that you need. Today I'm going to make a medium sized one for my daughter. Okay, so this is just in case you're not sure what we're making. We're going to be making, do you want to step back a wee bit, Darcy? We're going to be making a face mask with elastic to go around your ears. Now, Darcy obviously thinks she's going to rob a bank rather than a face mask because she's got it a little bit too high. Right, that's better. So we're going to make something a bit like that if you need to have a face mask, you've got one. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is take in the measurements on the help sheet. You want to just take a plain piece of paper and measure it out. This for a medium, this needs to be 20 centimetres by 17. So this is mine. If you go away and click measure yours now, that would be great. Okay, next you're going to need some fabric. Now that can be fabric that you've bought, or it could just be an old pillowcase or an old shirt or anything like that. Please don't feel you have to go out and buy fabric because there's plenty probably in your house that you could use. Okay, the other thing that I'm going to use is filter fabric. Now filter fabric is really breathable and it's ideal for putting on the back of your mask so that it's breathable for yourself, but also the way that it works, the germs won't get in either. So that works quite good. If you don't have filter fabric, it's not a big issue. What I would suggest you do is you use 2 pieces of the fabric that you're going to be using. The only thing is it won't be as protective as it would be if you had the filter fabric. Okay, so I've got my fabric and I've got my filter fabric, but you can use whatever. And I've also got elastic, and again, the measurements for that are on the help sheet. If you can't get access to elastic, because everybody wants to make a face mask at the moment, you could probably use some hair baubles. And if you just cut the hair bauble, cut it in half, you should be able to get elastic. Or elastic from anything else, you know, like an old skirt or an old top, or even some pants. You could use the elastic from that if need be. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is take our elastic and we want to position it on our fabric equally from the top and the bottom. So I would maybe say about 2 centimetres down and then 2 centimetres from the top. And we're going to be pinning our elastic inwards. And the reason we were doing it inwards is once we turn it through on the sewing machine, the elastic will stick out the sides. So I'm going to leave you to do that now. What we'd like is for you to pin them here and here. Okay, and once you're happy with that, you can then repeat that process on this side. But what's really important is that you keep them equal at the top. There's no point in this one being 5 centimetres down and this one only being 2 centimetres down. Otherwise your face mask is going to be very, very lopsided. Okay, so you'll notice that I have pinned mine on this side facing in the way like that, and because the elastic's not as long as the distance, that's why it kind of looks like it's a little bit too short. But once you get going and you put your filter fabric in, that'll even itself out. So don't worry that it's kind of bunching together at the moment. You'll notice here that, can you notice what's wrong here? The elastic's facing the wrong way. So my little helper put it the wrong way. So please note, don't do that, do that. Okay, so there you go, we have our elastic in place. Now what we want to do is put what's called the right sides of fabric together. So this is the right side in that we've got the picture here, and the right side of the filter fabric. It's quite hard to define probably I would say the right side of it is the one that's more matted. This one is a little bit more plasticky looking, and so that would be your wrong side. Okay, so put your right sides of your fabric together and you're going to pin them in place. Now, you might have pins or you might have clips. Either are fine. I tend to use clips like this, and you can get them on eBay or anywhere like that. But if you have pins, pins are fine. They just take a little bit longer. So we're going to pin it all the way around like this. Now this is called cross pinning, and by cross pinning like that, it means when we go on the machine or we're hand stitching it, we can stitch over the top. If you put your pins this way, if you put your pins like that, you can't go on the machine with them like that because you're going to end up breaking the needle. Okay, so if you put your pins in. Okay, so we're now going to stitch around the fabrics. So the one that we were preparing had the Little Miss characters on the inside and our filter fabric on the other side of it. And we need to stitch this all together in order to turn it inside out. But to do that, you need to leave a little space. Okay, so you can see this is one light blue pleater that I've prepared earlier, and we've got our stitched all the way around the outside, but we've left a space. So we start here and we leave a space for turning out. Okay. Now, if you have a sewing machine, it would be better to use the sewing machine to make it more secure. If you don't have a sewing machine, don't worry. That doesn't mean to say you can't do this. You just have to do it you'll just need to do it by hand. But the same principle applies. You start here, you stitch all the way around the outside, and then when you get to here, you stop and you can finish it off. So you can do it by hand if you really want, or if you've got a machine or anybody in your house has got a machine, then great. Okay, so and we're just going to be stitching with a plain stitch all the way around. Now you'll notice that this one has been cut at the corners. We'll cut the corners afterwards, and the reason that we do that is when we turn it inside out, it'll make much neater points. Okay, good luck. Okay folks, so we've now been on the machine and we've stitched it all the way around using the presser foot as the side of our guide. Okay, so from there what we're going to do is turn it inside out so that we can now see the good side, if that makes sense. Is that a bit confusing? No. Okay, so what we've got here is it the right way round. Need to take my pins out of my elastic, like so. And we're going to just, using our fingers, prod the corners to get it as square as possible. And that's why we cut the corners just a couple of minutes ago. Okay, so you've now got it like a square. A rectangle. Right. We've got a rectangle with these elastics, but we don't want to make it quite as big as that because that's a bit of a monster. Can't see your pretty faces. So what we would like to do from this is we're going to then create some pleats that will help give it structure and help it be breathable as well. So what we're going to do here is, first of all, I've got this one that we were working on earlier, is the first thing I want you to do, there's the opening that you had that you didn't, when you turned it inside out, I just want you to try and make that as neat as possible, and maybe even just put a pin in there to keep it secure, so that we get a really quite a rectangular, I'm desperate to say square, a rectangular piece of fabric without a scrappy edge. Okay, now once you've done that, what I would like you to do is fold your fabric in half, and using just your fingers, press down as much as you can to create a crease. Okay, and then you're going to, once you've done that, you'll have a crease in the centre. What I want you to do is bring your edges into the centre, and again using your using your fingers and only your fingers, press it down. We have experience of the filter fabric burning. So if you're using two sides of cotton, it's fine. But if you're using filter fabric,
don't iron it.
Do not iron it.
Just warning you right now, don't iron it.
We have been making these for granny and granddads and uncles and aunties, and we ironed some of them and burnt the fabric. So don't do that, okay? So we've got, so by folding it in half and then folding it into the centres again like so, like that, we then create 4 lines of creasing. Okay, so do you see that there? There's 1, 2, I beg your pardon, there's only 3 lines of creasing. 3 lines of creasing, and we're going to use that to create the pleats. Okay, and this is what I mean. This is what I mean. We're going to fold the pleats down just by 1 centimetre and pin them or clip them, whatever you want to do, evenly at both edges. Then we take the next one and we fold it down, and that creates the next pleat. And down again, that creates the next pleat. Once you've done that, we'll be going on the machine, but I'll give you time to do that now. Okay, so we've nearly created the pleats on this side. I just wanted to show you, in case you were a wee bit confused, what I meant by that. So you've got your fabric, and all you're going to do is fold it down about a centimetre, maybe even slightly less than that. Probably about the same width as your elastic. So once you've created that on both sides, that's how you get this corrugated kind of look. Okay, now we're going to go on the machine and top stitch it, and what I mean by that is you're going to stitch really quite close to the edge and neatly, and this is obviously a stitch that's going to be seen, so you want to consider the colour that you use, and try and get it as neat as possible. You can do it by hand if you wish. You would just use your needle and thread and stitch it kind of close to the sides. But if you want to use the machine, it will look something like this. Okay, now I have done a top stitch all the way around, and then I have actually done a second line of stitching, and that secures it, and it just kind of helps to give it that structure that you need in order to create, allow it to fit around your face. Okay, so good luck, and I will see you soon. And there we have it.
Lovely masks that you will be able to wear to the supermarket and anything.
Okay, good luck, and I hope to see your pictures. Share your posts as soon as you can. Have fun.
Bye.
Bye.